Hi, so I'm Ravleen. I'm an Indian IMG and I'm a final year med student. I'm going to talk to you about my USMLE Step 1 exam day experience. So I'm going to start with the night before. Usually you're not supposed to study the night before because it's supposed to be very exhausting. You need to recharge yourself for the next day because it's the big exam day that you've been waiting for. But since I'm an anxious person, I studied till 9 or 10 p.m. I do not recommend you doing that, but still, I did that anyway. So then I had dinner with my family and I went to bed at around 11:30. So I was really exhausted because the night before that, I did not have a good sleep. I only slept for like 4 or 5 hours and I was really sleepy that time. And I was really happy because I wanted to have a good night's sleep because my eyes, they get tired very quickly. So I made sure that I had a good night's sleep before the exam. So I slept at 11:30. I woke up at around 5. I slept for around 6 hours. So I was really recharged and I was fresh and I just woke up. I jumped out of bed and I was very excited that today was my exam and I was waiting for this exam since so long. I had been studying for 7 to 8 months for this exam and I wanted this exam to be over. So I was really excited that that day was my exam day. And I freshened up, I bathed, packed myself something to eat. I ate an omelette and I packed I think a couple of sandwiches, water bottle, coffee. I also put some fruits in my bag. I packed a lot of food just in case. I don't know what I was even thinking, but I just packed a lot of food for me. At around 6, I was ready. My exam was supposed to start at 8 and we had to be there I think half an hour early. So I made sure that I was ready by 6 because the Prometric Centre from my home was an hour away. It was in Gurgaon. So I made sure that I was ready at 6 a.m. in the morning and my father was supposed to leave me there. So I was there at 7. I was really early there and I went to the Prometric Centre. The center was actually closed. I thought that we were at the wrong place because it was shut and it was already 7 and I was like, okay, I think we're at the wrong place in the wrong building or something like that. We waited for a couple of minutes and they opened up. I waved my dad goodbye and then I went inside. They checked my ID. I had my food and my phone and I think I also bought my first aid book. I don't know why I did that, but I don't know. I just had it in my bag. Then they gave me a locker key and they asked me to wait inside in the hall, in the sitting room, I think. The staff there was really adjusting to our needs. They answered all our questions. They had a short introductory session, I think. They just told us about the rules. They were very mainstream. I don't really remember all the rules, but they were very mainstream rules. Then they asked us to keep all our stuff in the locker. So I did not keep a lot of stuff in my locker. There was a table outside the hall, the exam hall, in which we were supposed to sit. So I kept my food on that table. So I had an easy access to it whenever I exited the exam hall. I kept my food and my water and my coffee on that table. I kept my book and I don't know, whatever stuff I had in my bag in that locker. So we could actually ask for more lockers than one, but I didn't really have any stuff to keep it in the locker, so I just had one locker to myself. We waited. They asked us to wait for some time. I remember apart from me, there were 3 more students who were giving USMLE Step1 on that day. And there were other people also who were writing other exams. I don't really remember what exams they were writing, but then they were also there with us in that sitting area. I was actually the first one to enter the hall. I think we started a little early than 8. We started at around 7:45. So there is a different a room before you enter the exam hall where they check your ID, they check your permit, your pockets, and whatever you're wearing. If you're wearing any jewelry or earrings or specs or something like that, they will inspect it. They will ask you to remove it, and they'll inspect that. So it's better to just wear your normal chappals and your pajamas, and so that they won't really ask you to remove anything, or whenever you are entering the exam hall, you won't really take that much of time for inspection. They gave me a piece of paper and they gave me a pen before entering the hall, and they asked me to keep my passport with me at all times. I had earplugs as well, and I also took my anti-glare specs. I know people have a different notion about anti-glare specs, that they don't really work that well, but it somehow helped me because, as I told you, that my eyes get a lot tired. So I made sure that I had a good night's sleep, that I had my anti-glare specs, that I planned on washing my eyes every other break that I took. So I was given a table and I sat down, and they made us write our IDs on that piece of paper that they give. So that is the ID that you have to enter in the computer before you start the exam. Once you do that, the 8-hour clock starts. So there's an 8-hour clock right at the bottom of your screen, and then there's another clock on top of that shows how much time are you taking for solving one block. So there are 7 blocks with plus 1 hour of break that you can take at any moment. So I planned on taking a break after every block. No matter how energetic I felt, I planned on taking a break after every block, after every single block. Because I did not want to tire myself at all. So I remember solving the first block, and I remember everything coming back to me, that this is it, this is the exam that I was studying for since so long. I was petrified. I was very anxious as I was solving one question and the other question and the one after that. There were some questions I did not know any answer to. I remember feeling that anxiety and that feeling of just getting up and running away from that hall and not giving the exam at all. I had to calm myself down, that I know this is happening. I can't stop time because the clock was ticking, and I just had to calm down. So I stopped answering questions for I think 30 seconds, and I just closed my eyes and I was like, okay, calm down, Ravleen. This is something that you have to do, right? Because there are no second chances, and you need to calm down. I'm an anxious person. That is one thing that I suffer from. I do overthink things, and that somehow messes my things up. One of the reasons of me scoring a little less than my actual grade was because I was anxious when I was doing my first block. So I actually want you guys to not be scared or having that fear of answering the questions, of not knowing things on the exam, because it's very simple. This is an exam that tests you on basic sciences. So if you're studying, if you have studied enough, and if you've given your best, you are definitely gonna get a good grade on this exam. And by the way, it's becoming pass or fail this year only, so that really solves half of our problems, right? Then after that block, I remember going out and taking my phone out and just texting my mother, okay, my first block is complete. I was very scared or something like that. And then I just had a bite of my sandwich and some water, and I went back inside. So after every block, I took like a 10-minute break. Whenever I had to go back inside, they checked me again. They asked me to pull my pajamas up. They asked me to take my pockets out and show it to them. They checked my ID. They asked me to remove my specs, my glasses, and they inspected that. Then all of this took like 45 seconds. So you have to make sure that they are going to do that every time you step outside the exam hall. Then subsequent blocks were a little easier for me. I remember, I think the fourth and the fifth blocks were easier. And then my last block was somehow, it was okay. So it had a mix of both questions. But I remember the moment I finished my exam, the moment the time ran out, well, I also remember that when that timer showed like 16 or 15 minutes, I was like, okay, I have 15 minutes to just prove myself that I can actually do this exam, because I was so scared of this exam. And I did that. And after those 15 minutes, I was like, okay, this is what victory feels like. It was a victory for me because I had studied for this exam. I gave my everything. I studied for I don't know how many hours, and although it might not be, there are other people out there who have studied better than I did and who scored much higher than I did, but it was a small victory for me too. So I felt so relieved that I did this. I stepped out of the hall. The lady there, she handed me a piece of paper that said that I completed this exam. She asked me to sign somewhere that I completed this exam on this date. I stepped out of the hall. I called my mother. I was like, okay, I completed my exam. I did it. Then I remember walking out of the hall and being so grateful that I've been through this, I did this, and it's over now. That I don't have to think about the step 1 again. Although yeah, step 2 is coming, but okay. So I went downstairs. Someone was there to pick me up, and so on my way home, I called up my friend, and I was explaining everything to her, whatever I was experiencing in that exam hall. It was somehow scary, but then it was a whole other experience. I think every medical student who's giving USMLE will experience that. This exam is not just hard because of the study material, but also because of the mental pressure. Our schedules change. It makes us so vulnerable to a lot of emotions that we have to go through. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that this exam is the hardest, and that is also another reason why it's becoming pass or fail. So however you guys are planning on giving this exam, I wish you all the best. Please don't be scared of this exam at all, because one of the reasons why I lost marks and why other people lose marks on this exam is because they are scared of it. If you're going in that hall, in that exam hall, and clicking away your answers, you need to be sure that you are it. Don't be like me when I was solving my first block. Don't be like that. Although I'm very happy with what I scored and with my performance and the way I handled my stress and how I made myself calm, I'm very happy. I'm very proud of myself. But learn from my mistakes. I will also learn from my mistakes for my step 2, which is going to happen soon. And I wish you all the best. So stay happy, and okay, bye.